Today on PlayStation News, Concord crashes hard, PS5 Pro was an open secret at Gamescom, Sony is paying attention to the handheld market, Crash Bandicoot 5 cancellation reasons, and more. Let's get to it. Hello friends, welcome back to Hyper Games. My name is Joseph and this is PlayStation News, where we talk about the top PlayStation and gaming stories for the day. Hoping you are doing great in this new week. I'm doing great, and I wanted to ask you, yesterday was the 15th anniversary of the original Batman Arkham Asylum. It came out on August 25, 2009 for PS3, Xbox 360 and PC. And I wanted to ask you, what were your favorite moments from that game? Remembering some of my favorites, I remember the Protocol 10 in Batman Arkham City and also the ending of that game, no spoilers. After that, I also like the whole interaction with Joker in Batman Arkham Knight and how all of that ended. And at number 3, I think, even if it's not from the series, the Deathstroke fight in Batman Arkham Origins was pretty awesome. And on number 1, it has to be the Scarecrow fake glitch in the original Arkham Asylum. I think those would be my top 5 in the series. Hopefully Rocksteady goes back to doing one after the whole mess that was Suicide Squad, but we'll see. Let me know what were your favorite moments in the comments below. And with that, let's get into our first story, which is Concord crashing really hard. So the game has been out for a full weekend and it's not doing good with either critics or fans. At least in terms of player count, we're gonna get into that in a moment. So I have a quick review roundup here. The game doesn't have many reviews. I guess Sony didn't give out codes or anything. It only has like 10 reviews so far. So I have David Rodriguez from Hobby Consolas saying that Concord presents great gameplay as a first-person shooter while taking us back to simpler times with a traditional, albeit sparse, progression system. Unfortunately, its lack of personality means that it fails to capture the attention it should deserve in a genre where there are already too many games. He gave it a 72 out of 100. Next we have Sammy Barker from Pushquare saying that Concord is a clean and well-meaning first-person shooter with no shady business practices to boot. I mean, it couldn't have microtransactions on top of everything else going. Its lack of real identity is an issue and it's difficult to determine just how much Sony is going to get behind it long term. However, there's a polished and beautifully presented experience on offer here with some interesting tactical team building systems and sublime animations. Fireworks debut may not be out of this world, but it's generally pretty good. Pretty good overall. He gave it a 7 out of 10. And on the lower end we have Giovanni Colantonio from Digital Trends. He gave it a 3 out of 5 and said that Concord is not a poor multiplayer offering by any means. It has fun hero shooter bones, an eclectic cast of characters with distinct strategies, and rich world building that's set to dribble out consistently over time. It's just that Fireworks Studios' debut lacks original ideas that elevate that promising foundation. The result is a perfectly fine, though imbalanced, live shooter that doesn't feel long for this universe. So I also picked all the reviews here, and for example, GameRant gave it a 3.5 out of 5, and we also have BGC with a 6 out of 10. Overall, on OpenCritic, it has a 64 with 10 reviews, and on Metacritic it has a 66 with 9 reviews. Again, it only has a few reviews, but still, I don't think this is gonna get better for the game, at least in terms of reviews. You have seen when Sony has faith in one of their games, when they are really confident about it, they always deliver codes on time. Now there's also the issue that it's an online game, so it's better to play it and review it when it's gone live. But yeah, we'll see what it does in the end, but yeah, it's not looking good. It's also not looking good in terms of players. We have the numbers from Steam, and after a full weekend it hasn't been able to reach 700 players concurrent there. And if we remember how much Helldivers did in terms of sales, like at least half, or around 55 to 60% were from PC players, on Helldivers, and the rest was from consoles. So I don't think it's doing much better on PS5. We'll get into that in a moment as well. So yeah, comparing this, it's less than Suicide Squad, and that had a player count on peak of 13.4 thousand players, and that was also bad when it came out. So this is an abysmal number for Fireworks Studios. It's even less players than Golem, the worst game from last year, that got 758 players. So this has even less than that. And we were talking about this a couple of times in previous episodes, that the game was having a hard time finding players. Like, not that many people had it wishlisted on Steam. At least in the ranking for Steam on wishlist, it was like 758. So yeah, it was the writing was on the wall that this was going to happen. Now, how is it doing on PS5? We don't have the information, but at least from Derek Strickland here on Tweaktown, he said that it was doing much better. Like, in terms of sales on Steam, the ranking for the game was 511, and on the PlayStation Store was at number 42. Still, it's not that good. Like, number 42 for a first-party PlayStation game at launch it's awful. It's still awful. Now, is it the worst game from Sony? I've seen comments on social media that it's the worst game, and this is not me defending them. This is a disaster of a launch. But they have had like worse games during the PS3 generation. They were very experimental with online multiplayer. For example, we have Drawn to Death from David Jaffe. There was like Haze. There was also Drive Club, and I don't think Drive Club was bad in terms of, well, it had huge issues at launch, and it was a PlayStation Plus game, and it was taken offline after a while, so it was also a disaster of a launch. And there was also Killstream, which was sort of a MOBA from San Diego Studios that did poorly in terms of players, and I believe it was launched on beta or something like that, and it never came out of that. So yeah. Now, what's next for Fireworks Studios? They have a content roadmap approved, and they shared that roadmap. It has 2 seasons and one season for October, I believe, the next one for early 2025, and the next one for April. I was saying that their best hope was to deliver this content on time and hope for like the word of mouth to reach to more people, that the game has something for some players. But there's also like the barrier that this is a $40 game, and if it's doing these abysmal numbers, like, what's next? Maybe have it as a PlayStation Plus trial at some point. That's gonna happen. And if it doesn't pick up, I could see this becoming a PlayStation Plus game, and I don't know if even a free-to-play game, because like the game also struggled when it was an open beta to get people interested into it in it. So I don't know. It's a tough position to be for both Fireworks as a studio, being working for 8 years on something like this. For this to be the reaction is terrible for them, and I hope the best for the studio. I hope they don't lose their jobs or anything like that. It's also terrible for a publisher like Sony that could study the market and learn that there was a demand for something like Helldivers 2, but couldn't understand that there was no demand for something like a hero shooter with an oversaturated market, and also the fact that this makes them look really bad in terms of acquiring the studio, and because of this game, because they were looking forward to this game. Probably their whole this makes a huge dent on their whole live service aspirations, and we'll see. This is a huge slap for those ideas, so we'll see if they learn from that and pivot back to more single player games, or they still try to they still try to bring this game back from its imminent death. So yeah, let me know if you guys have been playing Concord. I was not interested in the game at all when it was revealed, so I didn't play the open beta or anything. But let me know if you guys are playing it, and what do you think about it, and what do you think this is gonna end up for the game? What's it gonna end up for the game? So after that, we have some information about PS5 Pro. We have not seen the console, but we have seen a lot of leaks about it. We have learned about the specs. We have learned about the guidelines for developers to get the PS5 Pro badge on their games. We have the release window, which is late November. We also have like features like PSSR, which is Sony's DLSS solution. Basically, the only thing we haven't seen is the console itself and a confirmation from Sony that the thing exists. But it's an open secret. It's been an open secret for a while, and it was reinforced at Gamescom. So this was something that was that came from website multiplayer.it. They were talking on a Twitch stream and saying like their experiences on Gamescom and all of that. And it seems like some developers were telling them that the console is coming really soon. They expect it to come real soon, and some of them even delayed their games to have it launched around the time the PS5 Pro comes out. So yeah, and that was something that they heard from multiple developers, not just one. There was another one that was like really happy because like the PS5 Pro would be able to handle Unreal Engine 5 much better, and it's becoming like the norm for most of the developers now. That was added from WCCF Tech on top of what multiplayer.it revealed. So yeah, given like the rumor for a late November release, it should be announced in September. Like 2 months before the console comes out is a good time. Maybe they do something like a promo to deplete stock of or lower the stock for the current one, because they are gonna keep both. So yeah, once they announce this, the sales for the regular one are probably gonna stop for a while, or who knows. I mean, not stop, but they're gonna be a little bit lower because people are gonna look to get the new one, depending on the price as well. So yeah, I think a September announcement is coming, and there have been rumors of them doing a state of play or a showcase. We were also talking last week about their whole Tokyo Game Show lineup, that it only had like Astrobot and Monster Hunter and the whole panel for Death Stranding, so it was a little bit empty for them returning after 5 years to Tokyo Game Show. So I think they could have the PS5 Pro on the show floor for people to try, but obviously they can't say that this far ahead in advance. They have to wait until announcement. And maybe some games that will have features integrated into that, they will want to show PSSR. So I believe they will announce more games that will be at the event in the coming weeks, and after that state of play. So it should happen like a week before TGS, so around September 19, something like that. So yeah, we'll see. Let me know if you guys are looking forward to PS5 Pro, and when do you think they will announce it. Moving on, that was not the only thing to come from Gamescom. There was this comment from Tom Henderson talking about like handhelds, like the current handheld market with the Steam Deck, and there's also like the Switch 2 coming. There's also like Asus handheld. So what he said is that according to people he talked to at Gamescom regarding this, they gave interesting discussions regarding handhelds, and he believes that you should save your money. You should save your money if you are looking forward to getting a handheld PC or like a Switch, because there's gonna be there's gonna be more devices like this with improvements and better specs. So he doesn't know when they are coming, but he believes that there will be more and better handhelds like this. Now, he was also asked if Sony would be returning to the handheld market, and he reminded everyone that PlayStation Portal was like very successful, and they are paying very close attention to everything that happens in the handheld market. And this is something that we have also talked about here in previous episodes, that the PlayStation Portal is like the best selling accessory for the US, UK, and I believe Europe as well in terms of revenue. I mean, it's a 200 handheld accessory. So yeah, it's gonna be the best selling accessory for the whole year. I don't think anything else is gonna come close. But yeah, this sends a message to Sony that there's some interest in a handheld or a proper handheld. And at least what I hope is that they deliver one that doesn't have any compromises. Like, I love my PSP and my PS Vita, but there was always the drawback of the additional proprietary memory that was very expensive to get. So yeah, hopefully they can make a new one and don't mess it up, basically. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about Sony doing a new handheld. Would you want them to return to doing another handheld? We also have the PSVR 2, which is like kind of like the new Vita, and usually when Sony splits their focus on different devices, one of them suffers. So do you want them to keep focus on PS5, or do you want them to do like a new handheld? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, let's move into some Crash 5 news, because like there were some developers from Toys for Bob talking about it last month, saying that it was cancelled and all of that. Now, there was some information coming from Did You Know Gaming. He revealed kind of like the reason for the cancellation. So the game was in like a very early production stage when it was cancelled. And the reason for the cancellation is because Activision thought that the sales for Crash 4, which did around 5 million, were like really disappointing, and they wanted to focus on more live service games. Yeah, sadly, that's the reason for a publisher like Activision. Like 5 million for a publisher like them is nothing, and with the cost of games, and they have basically turned every developer they have into grinding to make content for Call of Duty live services. So yeah, that's their focus. That's what they want, and sadly, that's what happened with Crash 5. Now there was some reveals on what Toys for Bob was planning for the game. Like, they had some story concepts, and they plan to bring some classic villains, and they also were planning for a team up between Crash and Spyro. So they would be the co-protagonists of the game, and they would try to save their own world from like a multiversal threat or of some sort. That cancellation was around the time they also canceled another game that I was hoping to get, which is the sequel to Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2. So that was like a couple of years ago, like I think 2020. I don't remember, because they also ported this to PS5 2022, I think. I don't know exactly the year when they were cancelled, but it was around that, and it was before Toys for Bob moved on to making the Crash multiplayer, the MOBA that they were doing. So yeah, unfortunate news for anyone who was hoping for a Crash 5. We don't know if Microsoft will do anything regarding a Crash 5. We know that Toys for Bob is now an independent developer. They went independent after Microsoft acquired Activision. And I don't know, we'll see if it happens under them. And will it come to PlayStation? It seems so, based on everything that's been happening with Xbox porting games to other platforms. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about all of this news, and if you were hoping to get a Crash 5, or what do you hope for the series next. With that, let's get into some quick fire stories here. And one of them is that Sony is expanding the Hero project to the Middle East and North Africa region. So the Hero project is basically it's an incubator program that looks to highlight new developers and sponsor their games. So this new area this new program will cover the whole Middle East and North Africa, including countries like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Jordan, Egypt, Morocco, and Tunisia. Sony also shared like a press release regarding the incubator program. They said that the incubator program aimed to identify promising local developers and support them in bringing compelling gaming experiences to global gaming audiences. As part of our evolving journey to ensure that PlayStation remains the best place to play, we are committed to developing regional incubator programs capable of identifying new and diverse developers worldwide. This is their third Hero project. The first two were China was the first one, and we got some games like Fist, Forged in Shadow Torch, and there's a new one coming, which is Lost Souls Aside, that has been in development for a while. They also announced last year the India Hero project, and that also looks to highlight the development from the region. And some of the games include like Meteora, the race against space-time, Fishbowl, Mukti, and more. So pretty good for these programs to highlight more developers. They also like give them like certain amount of funding for them to continue making their game. So yeah, hopefully we get to know the new games that are part of this project soon. And here's hoping for them to do the Latin America Hero project. That would be very amazing to see. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this story. Next, there's been some uproar on the community regarding recent comments from Amazon on AI and regarding the whole strike from SAG-AFTRA, where they are looking to get protection from gaming companies on against the use of AI. So this was a comment that Christoph Hartmann, who is the boss from Amazon Games, said last Friday. So here's the quote of what he said. I mean, I got to be careful what is here because we are a big company and have to deal with all those organizations. So I don't really want to get in the middle of it. Newsflash, dude, you got into the middle of it. But when we talk about AI, first of all, hopefully it will help us have new gameplay ideas, which has nothing to do with taking away work from anyone. And especially for games, we don't really have acting. That's the part that didn't sit well for many people. The majority of the team sits in programming, and that's not going to go away because that's all about innovation. If it takes something, it will be really the boring parts. So his response was basically he wants to speed up development because it's taking a lot of time right now. A game takes on average about 5 years to make, and he would like them to be like 3 years. So he continued saying, ideally we can get it down to 3 years so we can iterate more, which then will bring the budgets down a little bit. I don't think they are going to get cheaper, but at least you will fail faster, and then you can go on until you find the right thing. So now we have had people and voice actors commenting on this, and one of them was user Jinxter on Twitter, who shared the behind the scenes look from that scene in The Last of Us Part 2 with Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker, and the whole acting, which was fantastic for that scene. And it also was quoted by Christopher Judge, Kratos himself, who said that, thank goodness there's really no acting in video games, and the whole scene is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, SAG-AFTRA has been on strike since last month. They are looking for protection against AI because these companies can like clone their voice and use their voices without getting consent from them and giving them any compensation. Some of the companies they are going against are like Disney, Activision. There's also Insomniac there, and WB Games, and a lot EA, a lot more. So yeah, this was a terrible comment to make, and yeah, I hope the voice actors can get to an agreement with these companies, and like they deserve to get compensation whenever one of these whenever they use their voice their voices, either whether they acted it or if they are use it through AI. So we'll see what happens with all of this. Let me know your thoughts about the use of AI on games, and how do you stand with these comments from the AI boss, I mean from the Amazon Games boss regarding AI. So yeah, moving on. There's some news regarding the Dying Light 2 and the upcoming new game like the Beast that was announced at Gamescom. So basically they will be discontinuing the Ultimate Edition of the game, and this was the $90 version of the game. So after September 30 you won't be able to purchase the Ultimate Edition, and it will be removed from digital stores. However, anyone who has the Ultimate Edition as of now won't be affected, and they will be giving you the game for free, the Dying Light the Beast. So Techland explained a little bit about what happened, why they are removing the Ultimate Edition for Dying Light 2. So basically, Dying Light the Beast, which is gonna be free for anyone who has the Ultimate Edition, it started as a DLC. It was conceived as DLC, but then the scope of the project outgrew the DLC, and it's gonna be a full 18 plus hour game. I believe I don't think they're gonna sell it, I don't know, maybe 60, 40, I don't know, or 50. But since it's bigger than what they were going to deliver with the previous DLCs, they can just cover it as part of the Ultimate Edition, so that's why they are removing it. But for anyone who has the Ultimate Edition of Dying Light 2, they will be giving them the game for free. Now the game this version of the game is right now on the PlayStation Store at about $63. They haven't said what's the price for the Beast, but yeah, for $63 getting like the original Dying Light 2 plus the DLCs that have came out, and the Beast, if it's gonna be like $40, you still save some. So if you are looking forward to getting both games, maybe you can save doing this. So yeah, I would wait for the price on Dying Light the Beast before doing anything, but yeah, look at this and you have until September 30 to decide. And for our last story, we have Kingdom Come Deliverance, Deliverance 2 from Warhorse Studios. They have announced a lot of stuff over the past week during Gamescom. They also announced the Collector's Edition. For $200, you get a Letter of Hope, you get the King's Rebels collectible cards, Codes of Valor pin set, an exclusive cloth map. You also get a gold edition copy for either PS5, Xbox Series, or PC. It also includes the expansion pass, and it also includes a bonus quest called Lion's Crest, and also a digital kit called the Gallant Huntsman. And the last part is a 12-inch statue from main character Henry and his horse Pebbles, and all of these for $200. Again, the game was delayed and it will be coming out on February 11, 2025. I believe there's like a huge chunk of gameplay, and there's a new trailer from last week on Gamescom, so there's also that for you to check it out. So yeah, looking good, the Collector's Edition here. Let me know if you guys are looking forward to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and if you will be looking to pick this up. So yeah, that's everything that I have for you today on PlayStation News. Again, all of the sources for these stories you can find in the description, and let me know what you guys think about all of them, including everything that's happening with Concord, how it's doing on like reviews, and how it's doing on player count on Steam, and sales on PlayStation are not that good. So yeah, let me know about all of that. And also, what do you think about Sony looking to get into the handheld market, or at least keeping an eye on it so that they could return at some point? Or what do you think about PS5 Pro? Are you looking forward to picking it up? And the start cancellation for Crash 5. So yeah, let me know about all of that. And if you enjoyed this, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing for more PlayStation news. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.